Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook. No one could have known it then, but when Daytona International Speedway opened in 1959, it marked the beginning of a new era in American motorsports. As a replacement for the old Beach Road course a few miles to the east, the opening of the high-bank 2.5-mile Florida Tri-Oval represented the leading edge of a wave of construction of big paved speed palaces. Before Daytona, Indianapolis was the only American oval track longer than 1.25 miles, and most racing took place on dirt ovals 1 mile or less in length. From the very first Daytona 500, won by Lee Petty in a 3-way photo finish, those high banks proved a favorable venue for wide-open stock car racing. Daytona kicked off the growth of NASCAR as we know it today. Daytona International Speedway's infrastructure has grown and changed to such a degree that it would be almost unrecognizable today to someone who hasn't seen it over the last 20 years. It's an amazing motorsports facility, but one thing hasn't changed over the past 6 decades. No driver can consider his or her career complete without notching a victory at Daytona. From Dale Earnhardt, who captured the 500 in 1998 after coming so close so many times, to 14-year-old kart racers whose racing resumes are just beginning. A victory at Daytona is a mark of distinction. Tonight is race 16 of the IROC Challenge Series, and it's coming up next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Daytona International Speedway for tonight's IROC Challenge Series race number 16. 80 laps the race distance here tonight, 200 miles. Air temperature 77 degrees, 57% humidity. Under clear skies, barely any breeze. Track temperature down to 79 degrees. All kinds of grip out here tonight, at least for now. 2 sets of tires over the wall. Let's take a look here at the fuel percentage. It's at 65%. So drivers are going to have to manage the fuel tanks tonight. With that, the warm-up just about wrapped up here from Daytona. Let's go down trackside and follow the action as it continues before we get to our starting grid. Matt Kopp out there practicing donuts. Looks like about a 24-car field here tonight. Terry Crouch in the stream chat. Looks like Terry's on pole as far as our stream chatters are concerned. What's going on, Terry? Terry Crouch is probably long awaiting a paint job from me, to which I'll be honest, I haven't even started it yet, Terry, so don't kill me, but we'll get to it. I promise you. I won't let you down. You said there was no rush. Practice results from earlier. Aaron Smith was quickest in the draft, 45.007. That is getting it around here. Josh Funkhauser, Neil Quick, Brian McCann, Michael McDonald, your top 5. So Mike McDonald fastest in this session. Warm-up comes to a close. Only one thing left. Time to go racing. Well, Terry Crouch is not trying to bug you about the paint. Well, honestly, Terry, you didn't say anything about the paint. I brought it up. So it's quite all right. So without further ado, let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 48.326 seconds, it's the 70 of Aaron Smith. He's got 11 wins on the season already. Sure, he's going to go out there and try and take the 12th. Starting outside front row in the 3, it's Brian McCann, missed it by 27 thousandths of a second. Second row, it's Mike Cook and Tim Schofield. Row 3, Jaden Hopp and Garrett Johnston. Starting in the 4th row, it's the 2 of Neil Quick. Brother Cook Quick, and the number 23 starting at 8th. 9th position, Brandon Mefford. 10th goes to Jeff No. Kyle Pendergraft, number 14, he'll roll from the 11th starting position. Rick Kelly with Chaos Motorsports in the 31. He starts in the 12th position. 13 starters, Doug Wysocki to his right elbow. It's Josh Braley. Trevor Quick in the 5. He'll start 15th. 16th starters, Larry Bruner. 17th goes to the 88 of Jason Nilgis. John Osborne, the number 44, he starts 18th. The 82 of Stan Carnathan will start from the 19th position. 20th goes to Joshua Funkhauser. 21st, Michael McDonald. 22nd, Matt Kopp. 23rd, Chris Wally, and William Tyndall, the number 62, will roll from the 24th position. It's your starting grid here from Daytona. 1 lap to go to Green Flag Racing. Field working through turns 1 and 2 right now. We should see them here in just a moment. In fact, here they are. The race distance here tonight, 200 miles to be specific. Aaron Smith was your winner to start the season here at Daytona. We'll see if he can sweep the track here at Daytona. In good position to start this thing off, but he's still going to need some help. Jaden Hopp back in that 6th position, likely to be a good dancing partner for the 70. Field working out of turn 4. We'll expect to see the iRacing pace car make the hard left down pit lane. Field formed up nicely. 2 by 2. Waiting for Barney, the flagman, to throw it.
Green flag.
Green flag is in the air. We're racing from Daytona. We got Lindsay, we got Ken Couch, Terry Crouch, no relationship. As the field starts to come up to speed. Again, these Gen 4 Cup cars, plenty of horsepower everywhere except for the super speedways. It's going to take them almost a full lap to get up to full speed. Plus, you've got the added wickers on the roof line and the rear spoiler. It's going to add additional drag. Slows these cars down, but it also increases the amount of draft that the trailing car can use. Creates consistently fast runs. As they work on a turn 4 to complete lap number 1. Aaron Smith's going to give up the race lead here. Brian McCann's going to lead lap 1. 12 and Timmy Schofield in behind the 3. Nobody pushing and shoving here early on here at Daytona. Again, these bumpers front to back don't line up the greatest, but, and I stress the word but, you will still see guys pushing later on in this race. It can be done if you're ginger about it, but the way the nose of these race cars are designed in reference to the rear of these race cars typically just acts like a dozer. Picks the back tires up off the ground, and well, if you don't have the rear tires on the ground, it's really hard to keep it going straight. Out of turn number 4, once again, Aaron Smith has nosed out in front ahead of the 00 of Mike Cook. Ryan McCann with a run back to the outside. Again, you're going to see a lot of these guys just try to get settled into a good rhythm here. Take care of their stuff. Don't want to wad anything up here, especially early on. No sense in round filing a race car. Do want to stress, though, they do have one fast repair here at Daytona. Something that they do run on the super speedways. Field back to the line here, putting lap 4 on the board. Ryan McCann to the outside of Aaron Smith, down into turn number 1 once again. You can see how tight these drivers are together to each other. That's not going to change. You might see some separation through the cycle of green flag pit stops. But the draft is that important. You need a dancing partner, likely more than a few. You're going to maintain enough pace. They're running laps in the 46-second range. That's almost 2 seconds faster than they ran in qualifying. Just a testament to how effective the draft is. Now, those that might be watching the race, let's talk about the draft here once again. I know we've always got some veterans here in the stream, but once in a while we do get a newbie that may not necessarily get the lingo, so we'll go over it real quick. The way the draft works, you have a car out in front doing, well, about 200 miles an hour. That car going through the air, just as if you move your hand through the air, it's going to move the air. Well, it also puts a bit of a vacuum in behind the race car. So drivers that are in behind that lead car, they got about the same amount of horsepower as the car in front, but they have less wind resistance on the nose of the race car. So it allows them to almost have a burst of speed. It's not so much they've got more power, but they've got less resistance out front. So tucking in behind a driver, certainly a good opportunity to gain some speed, build a run, but also works with a guy behind you helping you push, as we got a caution here on the speedway. Rick Kelly possibly involved in this one. Yes, indeed. This looks to be out of turn 4. Rick Kelly out of Etna, Maine, in trouble here at Daytona. First caution of the night. Again, stage break should be coming at lap 20 this evening. Let's see what we can come up with here for Rick Kelly. Oh, it was bigger than that. 88 was involved. Jason Nilgis. Slow that one down a bit. There were 3 wide there for a moment, and it looks like Jason bounced off the left side of Rick Kelly down into the 5 of Quick. Sent the 88 up the racetrack into the 31. So effectively, 2 to 3 car incident here puts us under our first caution of the night. So back out front, Aaron Smith was the leader at the time of caution. Lindsay MW says, great synopsis. I try. You know, you do hear people complain about even watching NASCAR on the weekends on Fox or NBC, how a lot of times they go into great detail on this buzzword, this vocabulary word, this, that, or the other. And a lot of times you'll hear people talk about, we're not stupid, we've been watching this forever. We know this isn't for you. This is not for the veteran fan out there. This is for the new fan that might be watching their first broadcast here at HBR TV. But the same applies even at Fox or NBC. Those guys, they'll have some new viewers on occasion, as we see Aaron Smith pull into his pit box. He's going to top off the tank here. Actually, a very long stop for Aaron Smith. I didn't think he had any damage on that machine, but he is still in the pits here, 23, 24 seconds in continuing. He's going to be at the very back of the pack, which, knowing Aaron Smith and his strategies, this could almost be intentional. We'll see how much longer he stays. I don't know. Maybe he got penalized for speeding on pit lane here early on. I'm not sure. No, it wasn't a penalty. 37.9 seconds in the pits for Aaron Smith. Curious as to what that was. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to him later to find out exactly. Lindsay says, detail is what brings new fans that are intrigued to stick around. It's a good point. It's a very good point. Still not sure what the game plan there was for Aaron Smith. Very well could have been intentional just to make sure he restarted at the tail end of the field. I don't know that I necessarily like that as a driver, but there's usually two sides of the coin here at places like Daytona and Talladega. You just don't want to be in the middle in most cases. You want to be out front, out at the back. Middle is where the chaos happens. But then again, we've seen plenty of times guys that hang out at the back of the pack all race long. You get to about 10, 15 laps to go. It's time to get moving, make your way towards the front. They get, half to 3/4 of the way towards the front. And, of course, they get wadded up in somebody else's mess. Spent all that time out back just trying to be safe, just to wreck it there with 10 to go. But I've also seen the same happen out front. Guys that just want to dominate, lead every lap. Can't say that I blame them. That's kind of my strategy when I'm out there. If I can get out front, I want to stay out front. But, as a lot of people have, I have as well, I've been turned while leaning on the white flag lap. It happens quite a bit. Remember back to earlier in the season here at Daytona. Of course, we were on the older layout. Aaron Smith taking the victory after a massive pileup in the middle of turns 3 and 4, coming to the checkered flag. There was literally no contention for Aaron Smith. Ken Couch says, I bet he was speeding on pit road. Well, he didn't have enough time in the pit box to get that penalty. It was a total of 38 seconds. Pit speeding penalty is usually 40 seconds, so it would be his pit stop time plus 40. So I think it might have been intentional, or maybe he had some damage that we missed. I don't know. Either way, Aaron Smith at the tail end of the field here as we get ready to go back green flag racing, about a half a lap away. Terry Crouch makes his point. Give me clean track in front or give me death. Always. And even clean track is not a guarantee of a safe finish. Well, let's try this again. Going green flag racing in just a moment. Be lap 10 when they cross the stripe. Pace car is down pit lane. Brian McCann's going to lead them down with Timmy Schofield to the outside. Green flag waves. We're back racing at Daytona. McCann and Jaden Hopp on the bottom. They get away just a bit ahead of the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Tim Schofield up top with no helpers. He might want to think about slotting in behind the 4 while there's time, and time has run out. Brandon Mefford quickly closes the door on that option. Not going to show Schofield what he's won by staying up top, but it is still early. He's got some other drivers that are going to roll in behind at some point and help that outside line become active once again. Inside line, it's McCann, Hop, Mefford, and Quick, and as soon as I say it, Mefford slots out into the high side again in front of the 12 of Schofield. It might have been a planned exchange, you don't know. Back across the stripe, 11 laps go up on the board of 80. Starting to see some guys consider being a little more aggressive. It's marginal, but it's noticeable. Jeff Noe looking on the high side, making it 3 wide into turn number 3. Schofield jumps up the racetrack to block the run. I stand corrected. It was not Jeff Noe. It's the 32 of Garrett Johnston. Johnston way up the racetrack. Johnston with some help. Chris Wally from the back of the pack, tucked in behind for a moment, decides against it, goes from the top all the way to the bottom in behind the 23 of Cook Quick. You got the 14 of Kyle Pendergraft now in behind Garrett Johnston as Brian McCann continues to lead. Jaden Hop tucked in behind, and, well, that was fun. We lost everybody for a second. Let's not do that again. Looks like we're still live, folks, so never mind that. Just a little hiccup here with the racing gods. I don't know. Something happened. Quick up the racetrack. Blocks a run from the 83 of Brandon Mefford. And back to start finish here. 13 laps go up. You can throw a blanket under our top 5. Board with Brian McCann with the race lead for now. Neil Quick with a bit of a run and some help coming from behind. Brandon Mefford not making contact, but close enough to help. We talk about Brandon Mefford being there behind Neil Quick, not making contact, but close enough to help. To expand upon that drafting conversation a little bit further, it does help the lead driver if a car pulls up behind close enough to that back bumper. What effectively happens, and it's kind of hard to explain without a visual with the car being in a wind tunnel, but it effectively takes some of that air that lead car is running into. Take some of that air away from the rear spoiler. Instead of hitting the spoiler, it actually goes over top of it and then over the roof of the trailing car. Well, why is that important? Well, it reduces drag. If you reduce drag, you increase speed. Now you put the car in front and behind. Well, now you've got a train of cars, and the more you have, the faster they're going to go. Also, the tighter those cars get together in that line, okay, we call that organized, so to speak. Nice and straight, single file, bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper. That thing's going to be the faster line. Style points do matter, folks. If they're nice and tight and it looks good, nice and organized, that's going to be the faster line to watch. Trick is getting everybody on the same page to do it, because it's a lot easier said than done. Lindsay has a great point in the chat. I can't believe I didn't even mention this. She goes, think of it as being behind a semi. It's a great way to save fuel as well. So yeah, when you guys are out on the highway and all of a sudden you pull in behind a big semi truck with a big trailer in front of you, well, if you take your hand out the window, you can almost feel that void space of air, that vacuum. Then if you make a hard left or right to go around that semi, well, all of a sudden you hit that wall of air and your hand tries to fly out the window. It's the same principle, just instead of 70 miles an hour, it's at 195, 200 miles an hour. Lindsay is what we would call one of our veteran race fans. Brian McCann still out in front here. Jaden Hopp patiently running in behind. Again, as Lindsay had mentioned, it's a great way to save fuel. Jaden Hopp right on the back bumper of Brian McCann. Let's ride on board with Jaden. Driver's eye camera. Now this particular angle is about as close as you're going to get to the view of the driver himself or herself. Tiny little camera placed right on the visor of the driver's helmet. Jaden Hopp looking very smooth. Not a whole lot of movement in that wheel. Smith here. Remember, he restarted at the tail of the field. He's worked his way up into the 13th position. Just very calculating, working his way back through. Now to the inside of Michael McDonald. McDonald here with a different paint scheme this week. Different colors on that number 16 machine. Lindsay says, yep, I'm old. I remember watching my first race when I was about 3. That would have been 87-ish. So we're probably pretty close in age, Lindsay. I went to my first Cup race in 86. I was at Watkins Glen. I was not even quite 4 years old yet. And got to sit in the winning race car before the race even started. Tim Richmond himself picked me up, plopped me down in his race car. From what I'm told, much to the chagrin of the team, but it happened. And then he won the thing. That's really all I remember about the whole event. Aaron Smith still back in that 14th spot, right where we talked about not wanting to be. Not that he really needs to win this. He's got 11 wins this season, but of course he's going to want more. Time being 20 laps in, I don't think he wants to be there. As the 14 gets up into the wall, that's Kyle Pendergraph riding the wall, trying to stay out of traffic. Veteran move by the 14 just to keep it pinned up on the wall here to avoid a major incident. Definitely off the pace. Now, and the caution comes out here with the stage break. Brian McCann's going to be your stage winner. Getting ahead of myself. Lindsay says, what a great memory. Thanks for sharing. I'll be 40 in January. Happy early birthday. Mine was, what's today, Monday? Yeah, mine was yesterday. It's 41. It's like, we're not that old. Come on. I'm sure some of the viewers out there that are nice and quiet, they're not going to make any comments about my age. I can sense the sarcasm. So Brian McCann, winner of stage number 1 here at Daytona. Gives us our second caution of the night. So the question's going to be about tires. Again, we're running on the newer scan of Daytona, not the old school scan that we had earlier in the season. The old scan, much more abrasive, tires much more important. Now, with these Gen 4 Cup cars, they do not handle quite as nicely as some of the newer cars. But it is not absolutely necessary to take tires. You might see guys do it, and again, we've talked about that in the past on some of these other super speedways, how though tires are not essential, they do help if you're going to try and make some pretty aggressive moves. If you want to jog the memory banks back to days of thunder, he's going high, he's going low. Well, that move from going high to going low, it's hard to pull that one off safely without fresh rubber underneath you. You do run the risk of spinning the car out. Now, I find this interesting here. McCann, I think, won the stage, but Neil Quick's going to lead the field into pit lane here. I'm not 100% sure why. Unless I'm just a complete idiot and missed something, but it happens. So Brian McCann at least right sides. 4 tires and fuel for the 3. Chris Wally, though, he is down and away. 7-second stop for the 51. That's certainly a fuel-only stop for Chris Wally. But Brian McCann still in the pits. Did he get stopped for speeding? Aaron Smith as well, but he was there later. Aaron Smith with a 22.5-second stop. Brian McCann with 27.30. I'm going to have to ask these guys what's going on here. I don't understand these slow stops. It's not a penalty that I can see. I don't know. Any of you guys out there that may be in the know on this subject, why these drivers are taking these extended pit stops? But with that said, Chris Wally in his short pit stop, a fuel-only stop for the 51. He's going to take over the race lead over Neil Quick. Quick, the first car with fresh tires. Again, not super important. It's not like driving the 87 Cup cars around here where you almost have to lift. Granted, completely unrestricted engines in those cars. Lindsay says, is team chat accessible for you? Yes, in a way. But I can't really jump out without some dead air. Twisted Gaming says, bump and bruise repairs. I mean, that's kind of what we were thinking early with Aaron Smith, but I don't know, Brian McCann was out front the majority of the time, unless he's got some rear bumper damage from somebody running into the back of him. I don't know. Well, Twisted Gaming, we're just going to go with that. Bumps and bruises, getting fixed. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to talk to some of these guys post-race and find out the dealio. But we'll just have to wait and see. Chris Wally, Neil Quick, your front row as we go back racing here in just a moment. Then it's Stan Carnathan, Jaden Hopp, Garrett Johnston, John Osborne, Brandon Mefford, Cook Quick, Doug Wysocki, and Matt Kopp, the top 10. Chris Wally wants to go. Not leaving a whole lot of room between himself and the iRacing pace car. We're going to see it take that hard left down pit lane. And lap 25, back under the green flag.
Ready, green flag.
Chris Wally out to a bit of an advantage here. This could be a detriment to him here as he's way out in front. As the cars behind him pick up the draft, he's going to get eaten alive. Unfortunately, though, on the low lane, Carnathan's all by himself as well. Brandon Mefford may reel him in Two, Neil Quick and Jaden Hopp, the two that are closest together, but you see how quickly they close the gap. Wally there with no drafting help. And Carnathan, though, picks up some partners. Brandon Mefford in the 32 of Johnston, going to reel him in. Oh, a little bit of contact. Chris Wally and Carnathan. How that wasn't a wreck, I don't know. That would have been a disaster for all the drivers in behind. They're all packed up here on the lead lap. Chris Wally getting into the right rear of Stan Carnathan in the middle of the corner, and somehow they all get away clean. Off turn number 2. Wally still with the race lead. Neil Quick in second, right behind the 51 for the time being. Carnathan's going to have another run down the straightaway into turn 3. Neil Quick thought about going to the bottom, but switches it up, goes topside, stays with the 4 of Jaden Hopp. Hopp about a half car length off the back bumper of Neil Quick on to turn number 4. Big run for Quick. Gets the nose alongside, and at the stripe, Quick's your new race leader. He can pull down in front of Wally here. It's curious if he's going to. He doesn't. He sticks with the 4 for the time being. Again, remember, Quick with fresher tires, he can be a little bit more aggressive on his lane changes. Wally might think about slotting up in that high line. I thought he was going to try and squeak in ahead of Neil Quick, but not enough room and not enough of a run out of turn 2. As the 2 and the 4, even the 44, the top 3. Now both drivers, Quick and Hopp, roll down to the bottom of the racetrack. Take over to the top 1 and 2 positions. William Tyndall in the 62, he jumps up in front of the 44 of Osborne. Wally now back to the 4th position, now back in 3rd. We'll call it 3/4, I guess. I don't know. Oh, trouble up ahead. Jaden Hopp in the fence. Big time wreck here.
Caution,
The nose, I believe, of Chris Wally.
About the car at all?
Multiple drivers involved. Matt Kopp, Doug Wysocki, Aaron Smith takes the access road or maybe the grass, not sure. Aaron Smith looks like he gets through this one okay. Jaden Hopp goes straight to pit lane on the hook. That's a tough break for the 4 as he was running in that top 3. We'll go back and watch it again here at half speed. Yeah, Jaden's already in the fence at this point. We're going to rewind it. You know I hate it, folks, but that's sometimes the only way I can make it work. So yeah, Jaden was running in that 2nd position. Wally had a bit of a run. Watch it from the blimp here. See if this yields anything. Wally just gets there, and before he can get high enough on the racetrack, he gets into the right rear of the 4. Jaden does a great job trying to save it. Flashbacks to Kyle Busch back in the day in the old COT. Unfortunately, though, he goes back up the racetrack in front of traffic, and then Kyle Pendergraft just goes straight underneath him. And then the long slide on the roof for Jaden Hopp. Gonna back it up again here. I want to go to the onboard, the in-car camera. We'll use the driver's eye for Jaden Hopp here at speed, in real time. Oh, if that don't make you dizzy, nothing will. So the majority of the field hitting pit lane during this caution. Everyone going to top up the fuel for sure. Now, I always say everyone. It looks like Neil Quick, Brandon Mefford, and Garrett Johnston all opted to stay out on the racetrack, but everybody else behind hitting pit lane. Lindsay MW says that was a hard hit as a mom, glad for simulation. Wow. You're absolutely right. We've seen that very similar type wreck happen in the real life, and thankfully guys, for the most part, tend to walk away from it. Lindsay says he held that wheel. In real life, cross those arms and hang on. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's kind of funny, actually. You think back, the first time I really remember seeing someone cross their arms in the cockpit during a crash, it was here at Daytona. I think it was Danica Patrick off turn 2. She made some very hard impact to the inside wall down the back straightaway, and you saw the in-car before she hit. She took her hands off the wheel and crossed them across her chest. It's good for 2 reasons. I mean, if your arms are out in front of you, regardless of whether you hang onto the wheel or not, they just kind of flail around. You can easily break your arms, get it caught in the steering wheel. Pace car lights are out. We're going to go back green flag racing the next time by. Now, going back to injuries with the steering wheel and your hands in those crashes. Now, in iRacing, there are wheels out there and wheelbases that produce a pretty significant amount of torque and essentially force feedback to the user itself. And in some cases, literally enough force to break bones. Some of these systems have emergency stop buttons on them, so if something does happen where you get caught in the wheel like you would in real life, you can hit the emergency stop button and get your hands out of the wheel itself. It can certainly injure you. Again, not every wheelbase is the same, and not everybody runs them that high, but it can certainly happen. However, there are some guys that do race on a controller. Now, in my opinion, this is iRacing. This is supposed to be a simulation. That's not really racing. I mean, you're playing a video game at that point. Yes, okay, it's kind of like a video game, but the majority of the people on iRacing, they've got wheel and pedals. Just my 2 cents. I might be throwing shade at somebody. I don't know. Ken Couch says, not clear, dude. That's the truth. Well, fast repair is likely used for some of these drivers. Pace car pulls off. Let's try it again. Back green flag racing in just a moment. Lap 32 up on the board, and we're back racing. Neil Quick with the race lead out of turn number 2. Garrett Johnston, though, with a big run with Brandon Mefford, giving him a push down the back straightaway. Top 3, Johnston, Mefford, Quick. Then it's Tyndall and I think Mike McDonald there in the 5th spot. Quick back to the race lead. Now, I will stress this, in knowing Neil for a while, super speedway racing, not his cup of tea, so to speak. But the last couple of super speedway races he's run in, he's been a contender. He's been up near the front of the field, as he is right now. Just got to make sure you get that number 2 machine all the way home to the checkered flag. Johnston edges out in front just a bit, stays up in his lane. Again, apologies here, the overlay acting up a little bit. A couple of positions are missing in the timing tower. You can probably do the math, but we're going to try and reload it. Hope that fixes things. And there we have it. Stepping on the line there, thought he was going to go to the back. He might have been shuffled down below that yellow line. Not allowed to go below that yellow line to improve your position. Still side by side for the race lead for the time being. Garrett Johnston slips back. Tyndall giving the 2 a bit of a push. Tyndall keeps going here. He may get clear of the 32, but not to be. Brandon Mefford's going to come back and give the 32 a push. Johnston at the stripe. He's going to get credit for leading that lap. It doesn't matter by how much you lead it by. If it's just an inch, it's the same number of points. Real quick, maintaining the race lead over the 32 of Garrett Johnston, the 62 of William Tyndall. Top 8 cars are really starting to tighten up here and get a little bit more aggressive. You see how much closer everybody is, bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper and to bumper. Johnston's clear. He could come down, but opts to stay up top with Brandon Mefford. 81 to Josh Funkhauser rolling in behind. Oh, Tyndall down the racetrack, up the racetrack, and we got another crash. Still no caution. There it is. Now that we've wrecked half the field, the yellow finally comes out. These guys are still wrecking. Oh, man, Tyndall just won't stop. Hold the brake, buddy. Hold the brake. Caution number 4 on the speedways. We're just shy of halfway. I think it started with the 62 going around. A little push gone wrong, I believe. Let's take a look at it. And it's already started again. The caution coming out pretty late, so we're going to back this up again. We'll watch it from the blimp. Quarter speed. Watch the 62. Second car in line on the bottom. And Mike McDonald, he was giving him a bit of a push on the right rear and then slots it back down to the bottom and pushes him on the left rear. Really upset the handle on the 62. Of course, Tyndall goes to the bottom, comes up in front of the 16. And Funkhauser gets turned here. I'm not even sure what triggered that. Just maybe some evasive action seeing the 62's predicament. 23, a quick, was trying to sneak through, then Funkhauser slides back up the racetrack. Then the escape route for the 62 gets shut down, and big-time wreck for the 23 of Cook Quick. Lands on the roof of Tyndall. Once again, everybody in pit lane here topping off the tanks while we watch this replay. William Tyndall just kept on wrecking. This one might be up Lindsay's alley here, but for those of you old enough to remember the old Goodies Dash series, that wreck reminded me of the Goodies Dash series race at Daytona. It's just how it looked. The wrecks just go on and on and on. Well, with that, we're going to step aside, get our first break out of the way. We'll be back with the restart after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, field formed up 2x2, getting ready to go back green flag racing. Albert Anderson, he's old enough to remember Goodies Dash cars. Crazy and insane back in the day for sure. Lindsay says Earnhardt was in that wreck, I believe. Which one? Those guys were on their roof more than they were on their tires. Pace car is in. Garrett Johnston going to lead them down.
Green flag, green flag.
Just past halfway here from Daytona International, Garrett Johnston coming up to speed. Neil Quick to the outside with some help from the 82 with Stan Carnathan. Kyle Pendergraft slowed on the apron of the racetrack. Pendergraft shown as the 24th position. 2 laps down. Jaden Hopp 23rd, 1 lap down. He's gotten one of those back. The way this race is going, there's always that possibility the 4 could get his lap back and be on the lead lap with these drivers. It's not over yet. Remember, early on in the season, the first race of the season here at Daytona, Aaron Smith won it. He was 3 laps down at one point. It's not over yet. Back to the stripe. Garrett Johnston's going to lead it over Neil Quick. Quick has switched things up here. He's in the outside line. A little bit of help coming from the 82, but the 22 of Matt Kopp's got to get a little bit closer. Again, as we said, make that outside line a little more organized and they can move right on past, but they're not. Top 4 in formation off turn number 2. It's like watching an air show on the ground here at Daytona International Speedway. Aaron Smith back up into the top 8. Smith running 8th. Quick just a nose out in front here at the start-finish line. Still not quite clear. Still up in the top lane with the 82 of Carnathan in behind. If you look closely, you can see those wickers on the roof of these race cars. It's basically just a flat piece of, well, sheet metal that runs across the brow of the roof line of the race car. It acts almost like a, well, I guess you could call it like a sail on a sailboat, but the opposite purpose of it is to break up the air across the roof of the race car and create a big plume or a big draft in behind. That was by design. It created great racing, but it also created intense deltas. Closing rates were out of control as we're 3 wide here in the top 5. Chris Wally going back to the outside now for the race lead. Neil Quick in the middle, Garrett Johnston on the bottom. Now 3 wide for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th positions. What'd I say? Air show on the ground is like watching the Blue Angels there out of turn 2. Still 3 wide behind the top 2. Brandon Mefford, Stan Carnathan, Chris Wally still 3 wide for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Jason Nile and I think Matt Kopp in behind. It's actually the 35 machine. It's Larry Bruner in 7th. Oh, a little bit of contact with Cook. Quick. 23 drops it down below the apron for just a moment, but gathers it back up. Now 3 wide for the top 6 positions here out of turn number 2. Settle down, boys. Still plenty of racing to go. Chris Wally hanging tough there on the high side, just about a foot off the wall. That's it. He's got the 88 of Jason Nile just to the back door. Garrett Johnston still with the lead over Neil Quick. It's just about half a car length between the two. 3 wide battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th continues with Mefford, Carnathan, and Wally. Battle still intense here at the front of the field. Johnston maintaining that top spot, but now Neil Quick with a bit of a run. He's gone around for the race lead. Carnathan tips his nose into the second spot for a minute. Johnston battling back down low. Does Quick stay up top with his drafting partner? For now, he does. He could drop down in front of the 32, or at least he had that opportunity. Opts not to. Been clear a couple of times, not many. Take a look at the speed on these cars in the draft. 197, 198 miles an hour into turn one. Still in the low 190s in the middle of the corner. Johnston doing a good job staying out in front, utilizing the draft in behind, keeping that 32 machine pinned on the yellow line. Starting to slide up just a bit. Maybe tire wear starting to come into play. Johnston's last stop was at lap 38. Did not have any tires bolted on. It was fuel only for the 32. Chris Wally back in the mix here on the high side with Jason Algis in behind. Brandon Mefford showing some wiggle going on as well. He slides up just a bit, doesn't make contact with anybody, but you can certainly tell drivers starting to struggle with the handle on some of these race cars. Slow car up ahead. It's William Tyndall. These guys are going to have to single it out or at least go double file to get around the 62. So far, so good. Across the stripe, 30 laps to go here from Daytona. Johnston really out in front now, and we talk about that. It's just about a tenth of a second advantage. It is not much. That's about as big a lead as you'll see in a place like this. Neil Quick slots back into the 5th position, though. I think he's maybe getting a little apprehensive about the aggressiveness up front. Doesn't drop out and go to the tail of the field, though. Tucks in behind the 51 of Chris Wally. Wally's always been a real good super speedway racer. He's always up in contention towards the front of the field. And the push coming. We talked about it early on. You were going to start seeing that as the race moves on. Drivers becoming more and more aggressive, willing to use the bumper. Give that lead car a bit of a push. It's not just about the draft. Sometimes it's a physical push forward. You bump that car ahead of you, it increases a mile or two an hour. That's a big difference when you're doing 200 miles an hour and the guy on the outside is doing 199. It does matter. It does make a difference. But you're gambling big time. Get the nose underneath the car in front. You have a high probability of spinning him out if you don't do it perfect. Brandon Mefford, one of those guys that can get it done. Watching the battle, look who's to the outside. It's the 70 of Aaron Smith and the 3 of Brian McCann. Two front runners all season long. Aaron Smith with 11 wins on the season. Back to the race lead here, lap 54. 27 laps to go from Daytona. Aaron Smith back to the race lead. Garrett Johnston now second. Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford third and fourth in the battle for fifth between Chris Wally and Larry Bruner in the 35. Still back to the start-finish line. We're going to take our first and only HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, just as the HBR TV side-by-side came to an end, we had an issue on the racetrack. Drivers still spinning, Kyle Pendergraft being one of them. Not sure if Jaden Hopp was involved in this or not. Car looks pretty clean. Now Jaden Hopp running in the 20th position here should get his lap back. So long as there was no contact with the wall or another car during this incident, Jaden Hopp should be okay. Let's go back and look at it, at least from Jaden's perspective. That'll answer that question. Full speed, wreck in front of him. Gets her woed way down. Very smart for the 4. Jaden just taking his time. Guy's still wrecking in front. We'll watch the crash here in just a minute. Just want to make sure Hopp gets through this without any incident points. He should be good to go. If everything works out okay, Jaden Hopp should be back on the lead lap here when we go back green flag racing. So let's see. Might have been with Josh Braley's where this kicked off. Was it Aaron Smith? It was Aaron Smith. Was there some contact? Remember, Aaron Smith was leading here when we went to break, but he was way back in the pack here when this happened. We'll watch it full speed from the blimp. Rick Kelly up the racetrack. Now, it's even worse. It happens up ahead. Oh, Aaron Smith just gets driven underneath. Still got to back this up to see the initial crash. I think it was up within the top 5. Was it the 62, possibly? Yeah, 62 off the nose of the 16. Oh, wait a minute. I'm showing you guys replays from earlier. Helps to scroll. This time for sure. So it might have been Garrett Johnston. Yeah, there we go. 32. Oh, man, Rick Kelly's going to get a big piece of this. All right. Now from the blimp. 3 wide. Oh, just a right hook. The 32 goes up the track. Luckily, oh, big time hit for Rick Kelly. He's hard in the wall and upside down. Still want to watch Jaden Hopp here, see if he got through this without any contact. Pick a hole you can drive through. Jaden Hopp gets through. He should be back in the lead lap. Twisted Gaming says EOL on the 23 of Cook Quick. Again, those of you that are new to iRacing, the EOL is an end-of-line penalty. Still some damage on the right front of the 23. I'm sure he's going to come to the attention of his crew and get that fixed. Assumption here is Cook already used his fast repair from earlier on. So Jaden Hopp going to be back on the lead lap here, it appears. Going to restart here, I think, here in the 17th position. Might be 16th spot, depending on where that cycles through, but he's not out of this. We got 19 laps to go. Again, remember, early in the season, Aaron Smith came back from 3 laps down to win this. See if Jaden Hopp can do the same from 2 laps down. Back to the front of the field, Brian McCann and Chris Wally going to lead them back to the restart. Field working out of turn number 4. Row number 2 is Aaron Smith and Neil Quick. And Brandon Mefford, it looks like Jason Nile just to the outside. That's your top 6. Green flag back in the air. Little wheel spin off the 51. Top three single file in the bottom lane. Chris Wally considering going topside. He does. He jumps out off turn number 2 in front of Neil Quick. Quick's going to give him a run down the back straightaway alongside Brian McCann for the race lead. Wally trying to inch over, and he does. He gets in front of the 3, but slips up the racetrack. Brian McCann doesn't waste a second. Gets right back to the inside of Chris Wally. Takes back the top spot. Chris Wally tucks in behind the 3 of Brian McCann with inches to spare in front of Aaron Smith. Coming back to the stripe, 17 laps to go. The battle now between the 2 and the 3. At the stripe, Neil Quick, your race leader, should have enough room to jump down in front of the 3, but stays up in front of the 88 and Nilegis. Trying to figure out which lane is going to be preferred here. It seems that the outside, most of the time, the guys, that's where they want to stick to. 3 wide for the race lead. On the bottom, it's Wally. In the middle, McCann, and Quick up top. Quick maintaining the top spot. Aaron Smith in the mix here, side by side with Brian McCann and Brandon Mefford. 3 wide in that third row. Smith with a big run to the outside. Still 3 wide for the top spot. Wally on the bottom, Quick in the middle, and Aaron Smith up top. If anybody makes a mistake, it's going to be chaos. Brian McCann pushing the 70 down the back straightaway. Smith slots down in front of Neil Quick, goes right to the bottom of the racetrack. Jason Nile just drops down low to the inside of Neil Quick, trying to pick up the draft from Aaron Smith. Not enough doing there for them. Neil Quick back alongside at start finish. Big time run for Neil Quick. He leads that lap, not enough room to get in front of the 70 this time. 15 laps to go. Now Quick ahead of Brian McCann. Both of these drivers have voiced their concerns trying to take wins away from Aaron Smith. It's been a very difficult task all season long. Again, Aaron with 11 wins out of the 16 races, this being the 16th. Leads that one too. It's a little bit closer this time as we've got 14 laps remaining. Still a side-by-side battle for the top 4 positions. You've got Quick in the 2, Smith on the bottom in the 70. Brian McCann, Jason Nilegis, McCann in the 3, Nilegis down low in the 88, then Chris Wally and Larry Bruner 5th and 6th. Checking on Jaden Hopp. He's starting to work his way through. About 3 or 4 car lengths off the back bumper of Matt Kopp in the 16th position. 13 laps to go. You might think he's out of this, but he is not. He still has a chance. He's just got to draft his way up. Oh, Rick Kelly off the pace. Kelly running 22nd, lap car on the high side. You see how important the draft is, how fast the field goes by when you're all by yourself. Seesaw battling back and forth for the top spot. Aaron Smith and Neil Quick just going back and forth. Not willing to give either one of them an inch. It's about a half car length advantage for Aaron Smith for the time being, and it's going to switch back to the 2 down the back straightaway. Starting to see why Neil Quick is maintaining that spot on the high side. It almost seems like they're able to build a bigger run up top, maintain that speed as Chris Wally's breaking up the party here. He's going to the high side with no help. 3 wide here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's going to give Aaron Smith more of an advantage. Jason Nile just now alongside Neil Quick. That's what you're going to start seeing here as we get to the closing laps. We're going to go from 2 wide to 3 wide, and it's just going to be a matter of who can hold it. Still now 3 wide, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Right on board with Brian McCann. Brian McCann, the meat and the sandwich. Big wiggle on a Neil Quick off turn 4. Kept his foot in it. To go from Daytona. Business is picking up here at the front of the field. I don't need to tell anybody that. You can see it. Aaron Smith on the low lane ahead of the 88 Anilogist. Neil Quick trying to side draft the 88 just a bit to slow his momentum. It works. It's going to build a bit of a run for the 2. Down into turn number 1. Brian McCann in behind the 2 of Neil Quick. Outside still Chris Wally. Now he's got some help. Timmy Schofield up there. Almost into the wall is the 51. I don't know if he had to lift or not, but he lost some momentum. For the time being, things somewhat starting to settle down, at least with our top 5, but behind them it's still chaos. Jaden Hopp now working his way up into the top 10 as he runs in the 8th spot right alongside Chris Wally. In the middle though, 3 wide for position. Hopp's going to try and drive it up to center. Not enough room as the 35 closes the door. Hopp still in the 7th spot. John Osborne to his left side. Hop kind of trapped at the moment here in the middle or in the high lane, depending on who's there. '28 machine to the outside of Tim Schofield. That's Josh Braley. Braley just about a foot off the wall exiting turn 4. Now battle for the race lead once again at the stripe. Might have been Neil Quick just by an inch over Aaron Smith. We've got 7 laps to go, and this battle is just not going away. Now, my concern is you're going to start seeing drivers in that low lane start to come up off the bottom in the middle of the corner, unable to keep it pinned on that yellow line. If that happens, the outside line has to be aware of that. Otherwise, there's going to be some door-to-door contact. That's why I see this outside line somewhat being an advantage, at least for the time being. Some contact getting about the slow number 23 of Quick. He goes to the bottom, forcing the whole field to go around the outside. That was a close one. Shades of Alan DeFries and the Scar Truck Series back in the day. I think only 2 people even know what I'm talking about, but that's all I can think of. Coming to the line, it's going to be 5 laps to go. Who's it going to be? For now, it's Neil Quick at the stripe, leading yet another lap. Aaron Smith, side by side in a big run. Coming on the outside, Brandon Mefford with help from Chris Wally on the outside, taking the top spot for the time being. 3 wide for the top 6 through turns 1 and 2. In formation, it's a beautiful sight, as long as they don't wreck. Look good for a moment. Wally tries to slot in. Behind him, we got trouble. Cook quick in the fence. Down the backstretch.
Caution.
Yellow is
Guys,
out.
Just quickly, just remember, nice and smooth. Take in fluid. Stay by those fans. Do what you can to keep cool.
Cook quick sliding through the grass. Getting into the fence as others involved as well. Well, that adds a whole new dynamic to things. This is going to send us to overtime. In my best Rick Jenneret voice. God rest his soul. All right, let's look at the caution here, see what happened specifically on the backstretch. It's already in play here. Cook quick catching the right hook off Josh Funkhauser. No, it was the 62. We'll slow it down and go to the blimp. Tyndall was trying to go up the gut. There just wasn't enough room. That door closed before he could get into it. Sends Cook into Funkhauser, and then the rest is history. Kyle Pendergrass going to get a piece of it, it looks like. Garrett Johnston dropping down the racetrack. Doug Wysocki's going to come into this as well. Just dumb luck the 23 didn't catch more air. 2 different occasions he almost rolled that car. Jeff No in the pits. William Tyndall. Nothing to lose for some of these guys. They might as well come down and give it a shot. They may have tires still over the wall. Let's see if Jeff No does. Right side's going in the air for Jeff No. Tyndall had tires as well. Funkhauser might be out of this here. No fast repair remaining. Garnathan down and away. Looks like topping off the tank only. But that's going to be the question here. Neil Quick was your race leader at the time of yellow. Twisted Gaming in the stream chat confirming the EOL going to the 62 of William Tyndall, effectively assigning blame of the incident to him. Hold your breath, folks. We could do up to 3 of these, too. Don't forget that. So to give you guys the rundown here on the green-white checkered, I'm just confirming, yes, we'll do up to 3 if necessary. So the way it works is it's effectively NASCAR overtime. The reason they do this, it was an effort to try and make sure the race is always finished under the green flag and didn't run back to finish under caution. It's a buzzkill to have that happen. So they've enacted this green-white checkered rule over the years, which a lot of the short tracks in the nation have adopted prior to NASCAR Cup Series doing it. But the way it works is no matter where you are, as long as there's a caution prior to the white flag coming out within the conclusion of the official race distance, they'll add laps. And effectively, they'll add a green flag lap. Then the next time by, the starter will wave the white. And then, of course, the following flag would end the race, whether it's another crash or they make it back around to the checkered flag. However, if the caution comes out before the leader takes the white flag, then they rack them up and they do it again for another green-white checkered attempt. They can do this up to 3 times, this being our first attempt. Fingers crossed, we only need the 1. Not very often we get all 3, but we did have all 3 last night in the Noble Racing Series out at Martinsville. 16 cautions last night. That was a rough one. Again, the Noble Racing Series utilizing the same car, the Gen 4 NASCAR Cup Series car. I will say running it at Martinsville was definitely a challenge. So Neil Quick was the race leader at the time of caution, and he is opting to restart on the outside. We've talked about what lane is best a lot of this race, and I've kind of said it a bunch here. The outside does tend to be the best place to be, specifically on the older tire. Twisted Gaming confirming 6 cautions tonight. 5 of them for cause. Remember, one of those was a stage break, that lap 20 caution coming out. That was planned. Well, hold on to your butts. Green, white, checkered finish getting ready to happen. Pace car is going to pull down pit lane.
Green flag, green flag.
Already
green flag.
waves the green. We're back underway. Neil Quick in the gas. Neil Quick dropped down in front of the 70 of Aaron Smith for a brief moment. Decides to go back up the racetrack as the 3 of Brian McCann was coming with a heavy run. Top 3 in the outside. It's Quick, McCann, and Brandon Mefford. A bunch of IROC veterans, been here a long time, racing together for a long time, and here comes Chris Wally in that line as well. You talk about it, numbers and being organized. That's where the speed is. And they stay up top. They stay organized. 5 cars versus 2. This is where it really makes a difference, the draft. You can't get it done with just 2. If anybody can, maybe it's Aaron Smith as he's starting to pull in. Neil Quick looking like Dale Jr. out there trying to work both lanes, but Aaron Smith gets to the bottom, across the start-finish line. White flag in the air, final lap from Daytona. The battle into turn number 1 for the race lead and maybe the win here at Daytona. Aaron Smith with half a car length ahead of Neil Quick out of turn number 2. Quick's going to have a run. Better watch the outside lane. A couple of cars lined up. Maybe not enough to make that run. Side by side, down the back straightaway for the final time. Neil Quick, a bigger run down into turn number 3. Retakes the top spot. Does he stay in front of the 3 of McCann or drop down in front of Aaron Smith? He's going to try and stop Smith. He drops down below, throws the block. Up the racetrack, throws another block. McCann goes to the outside, 3 wide for the race lead and the win here at Daytona. Crosses the stripe and we're all reckoning. Brian McCann takes the checkered flag. Big time wreck here at start finish. Neil Quick finishes in pit lane. Aaron Smith still wrecking. It's like a Talladega Nights crash. Fireworks going off on the back stretch and fireworks in the tri-oval. What a race. I know there was 5 cautions, but I think that was all right. That was acceptable. What a win for Brian McCann. Put it all on the line. Let's try and watch that. Coming to the finish. Mefford scrapes the right side, gets in the wall. Jaden Hopp came into the picture. We were 4 wide coming to the stripe, and just everybody coming together. Brian McCann lucky enough to survive it and across the line and takes the win. And now we got a demolition derby here at start finish. With that, we'll step aside, get a break out of the way, and have our top three finishers, Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, and Garrett Johnston, in the broadcast booth after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook. Back at Daytona International Speedway, round 16 in the books of the IROC Challenge Series, and Brian McCann breaking up the Daytona sweep from Aaron Smith, taking the race win here tonight. Let's see if we can get a word with the driver of the number 3 get him up into the broadcast booth. Brian, it's Steve Singer with the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Brian, congratulations, man. Hanging around there at the finish, not getting involved in that massive wreck. You guys were 4 wide coming to the stripe. Walk us through it. How'd you do it?
And I didn't even know we were 4 wide, so that's amazing. We was coming 4 wide to the checkered there. And Neil being out front, I think he was trying to block Aaron because Aaron might have had a little run, but I gained a lot of steam there. And once he put his focus back on me to try to block me, he knows I'm not lifting. I know I'm not lifting, so I didn't lift and went to the outside, but I don't think he could have slowed me down there. So it was either both of us in the wall or him letting me go on the outside. So I thank him for that. That really gave us the win there.
It was really a thrilling finish, kind of what we'd expect to see out of Daytona International. Want to step back a bit, though, and talk about pit stops. I know pit strategy wasn't a huge factor tonight, but we did notice that Aaron Smith and yourself both taking extended stops. I really wasn't sure what the reasoning for it was. Was there some damage that you guys were trying to fix? What was the reasoning behind that?
Do a little math on it, and it works out. That was the strategy call. I think Aaron figured it out. I guess I did too, and I didn't see who else did it, but wanted to be in the back of the pack after we came back out on the stage, and 2 wrecks happened after that, so that was a good call. Was able to dodge both of those, didn't get caught up or anything. And then I was riding around back in the back waiting for my opportunity, and I saw Aaron up there on that 3rd line hanging out by himself, and I'm back there with all kinds of cars in front of me. I get a huge run, so sure enough, I just took off that 3rd line and got on his bumper and pushed us both to the lead there.
Well, you keep the win tally for Aaron Smith at 11. You knock him off here at Daytona. Can you do it next week at Auto Club?
I'm going to try 110%. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it. Aaron's fast, Jaden's fast. Got a bunch of fast drivers in here. Neil, anybody can really do it. So it's always going to be a good race, and thank you just for everybody showing up tonight. Amazing.
Definitely a great race to call here. Appreciate the effort by all on the racetrack. Brian, congratulations on the race win here tonight. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, thank my family, you for doing the broadcast, league admins, the spotter who's out here watching the race, calling all the shots, and the drivers coming out here every week and racing with us. Thank you.
All right, Brian. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week out of California. Brian McCann, your race winner 2 days in a row in Victory Lane. Last night on the Paperclip in Martinsville in the No Bull Racing Series, and tonight on the big track at Daytona, taking home the race win. Next, we're going to talk to Brandon Mefford, our runner-up here at Daytona, driver of the number 83 machine. Brandon, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations, man. It was a hard-fought race. Started back in the 9th spot, come home here with a runner-up finish when the chaos ensued coming to the checkered flag. How did it look out the windshield of that number 83 machine?
Oh, I don't even know if we were looking. I think I had my eyes closed there coming to the finish.
Well, certainly a chaotic finish. Was there any strategy employed here tonight? I know Aaron Smith and Brian McCann both had something up their sleeve. You didn't get into too much detail about it, but on your end, was there any sort of special strategy or plan to try and get you towards the front, maybe even a win tonight?
Yeah, we just wanted to, we stayed out there when those guys came into pit, kind of expecting a few cautions, but I think Aaron and Brian were playing the fuel strategy game. If we went on the fuel strategy there, they were going to probably walk away with it, but knowing this place and what happens with 10 to go every stinking time, I just wanted to be out front, wanted to try to stay away from all the messes and avoided a couple of them and have a shot at the end. All you can do is hope to have a shot off of 4 here, and we did. I was kind of hoping to push Neil there, or help push Neil there to the win, try to get him through to the state in the bracket, but things parted and we had to go our own separate ways, and luckily it went down and not up, and so we got to ride the wall to a 2nd place finish.
Well, it was very entertaining, especially with the green-white checkered coming there at the end, watching you guys battle it out, trying to really take that win away from Aaron Smith. I know he's got a bunch this season, but next week we go out to Auto Club Speedway. That's going to be, I think, one of our final races here as we get close to the end of the season. back to normal racing, no short tracks, road courses, or super speedways on that big 2-mile oval. How do you feel about your chances next week?
Yeah, you're gonna be back to saving fuel and saving tires. So whoever can do that the best is gonna come out on top. And Brian and Aaron are probably your top 2 guys there. So we'll be chasing them all night, and hopefully we can either be faster than them or capitalize on some unfortunate for them. So not saying we're running for third, but we're running for third next week.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to it nonetheless. Auto Club, a great racetrack. It's a shame that they got the bulldozers out there in real life right now, but at least she's preserved in iRacing. We'll get the race there next week, coming up on Monday night. Brandon, thanks for talking to us, man. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It's been nice talking to you in a couple leagues here. The last few weeks been having these podium finishes, so hopefully we can keep that alive. But I got to shout out to all the drivers in the IROC league, and these guys have been putting on a great show here lately. Really, for a super speedway tonight was great racing. You had your moments that not really proud of, but that's what you get with this type of racing. So, but shout out to all the guys out here. Shout out to Chris Wally and all the guys that put this deal on. Spartan Logistics, R&R Racewear, 5-Star Graphics, everybody that lends a hand in making this happen each and every week. And thanks, to my Charity Motorsports teammates. I think there were 5 of us out there tonight. And, really makes these races enjoyable. The fans can't hear us on the chat, but we have so much stinking fun. But thanks to them, thanks to my family for letting me do this 3 or 4 nights a week. It's what I love to do since we don't go real racing anymore. This keeps the blood flowing and keeps the competitive juices alive. So really, really thankful to my family for that. And again, Steve, thanks for the broadcast, and that's about it.
All right, Brandon, thanks for the kind words, man. Again, good luck next week out at Auto Club.
Thanks, buddy.
Brandon Mefford, your runner-up here at Daytona. Let's talk now to the 32 of Garrett Johnston, our third-place finisher. Garrett Johnston, it's Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. You got me?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Garrett, congratulations, a third-place finish. I'm sure it's not the one that you wanted. You spent some time leading this race here tonight, but either way, a solid third place. Walk us through your night. Was there anything you could have done differently to maybe finish ahead of that third-place position, maybe even get a win?
I tried to stay out front for most of the night, or thereabouts, and usually I like to kind of hang out in the back, and then some of the guys that I was talking to for the whole race were telling me, whatever you do, stay up there. So I tried to stay up towards the front and ended up getting spun out anyway. Kind of came down pit road, fixed everything, and kind of just was biding my time there at the end and going to make a late push, and I restarted 14th on that last lap and made it all the way up to third in about 200 feet. So I don't think there's anything I could have done differently to place better. I think there's a lot I probably could have accidentally done to place worse, though.
Well, with all that said, next week we go back to some normal racing out at Auto Club Speedway. How do you feel about your chances out in California?
You know what? I think I might have to actually buy that track. I don't think I've ever even ran there, so I might have to hop in a little early and get some practice in. But I always I'll never turn down a track that isn't just left up to chance. But it's nice to get to these where it's anyone's game every now and then.
Well, Auto Club Speedway does kind of tend to be a bit of a twin to Michigan. How do you run at Michigan?
That's good. Yeah, I like Michigan most times. When I'm on, I'm on, and when I'm off. So we'll just kind of have to take it day by day, and we'll see how it goes. Certainly
looking forward to it, Garrett. Again, a strong run here tonight with a third place finish. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for hosting this and doing the broadcast. It's a great broadcast to put on, and I appreciate that. And thanks to all the sponsors for the league. It'd be a lot harder to do it without them. And just give a shout out to my aunt and my dad and at home, grandma, and everyone that watches. And hope they enjoyed as much as I do. And we'll see you next week.
Well, Garrett, again, congratulations. Certainly good luck next week, man. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
Garrett Johnston, your third place finisher here at Daytona. A thrilling finish. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Garrett Johnston, your top three. In the fourth position was Aaron Smith. Neil Quick finishes in the fifth position. Chris Wally was sixth. Seventh went to Jason Nilgis. Jeff Noe was eighth. Jaden Hopp came home with the top 10 in the 9th position after being a couple of laps down. Timmy Schofield was 10th. 11th place was Stan Carnathan. 12th went to Mike Cook. Josh Braley, 13th. 14th finisher was Josh Funkhauser. The 44 John Osborne finished 15th. 16th went to Larry Bruner. Doug Wysocki was 17th. Matt Kopp finishes in the 18th spot. 19th place finisher was William Tyndall. Cook Quick was 20th. 21st, Kyle Pendergraph. Rick Kelly was 22nd. Trevor Quick, 23rd. And Mike McDonald finishes 24th, 34 laps down. Guys, thank you all for joining us here in the broadcast tonight. Again, the stream chat busy as always. Thank you guys, especially our lifers. Thank you especially Twisted Gaming jumping in and kind of giving us some admin information within the chat. That really helps us out quite a bit, and I do appreciate it. I'm sure the viewership does as well. If you guys haven't already done it, please go ahead and like the stream. That's a free thing that you can do that helps us. It's almost like money. But it makes a big difference. It gets the stream out in front of some new eyeballs, whether it's for us here at the channel or the IROC Challenge Series. Either way, fresh eyes are always a good thing. We do appreciate that. Been getting some traffic on the new website, hbrtv1.com. Thank you guys for perusing there. I know it's not much, but we've gotten some leads out of it, some new leagues that might be interested in having us broadcast for them. So it's working. It's a plus across the board. So thank you guys for checking that out as well. As always, congratulations to our race winner here tonight at Daytona, Brian McCann, taking the checkered flag. Wishing all you guys the best of luck next week at Auto Club. Make sure you tune in here to HBR TV for all the action from Auto Club Speedway. Next week, next Monday night here, 9:25 p.m. in the East here at HBR TV. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.